Welcome to this episode of MoGuard TV. I'm your host, Sergeant Megan Brown, and I'm a recruiter in St. Charles County. In this episode, we'll show you some of the different activities your hometown guard has been up to this summer. We'll meet up with the 1221st Transportation Company as they prepare for a very long-haul mission across the country. We'll see how Cardinals Nation encouraged an Air Guard unit deployed overseas. We'll learn about the final training event of the Combat Engineer course at Fort Leonard Wood. Then, we'll head to Rosecrans Air National Guard Base in St. Joseph as they unveil a brand new runway. We'll head to Fort Leavenworth, Kansas to check in with the 35th Infantry Division as they participate in a Warfighter exercise. And finally, we'll also show you what the 139th Forward Support Squadron has been accomplishing with their annual training in England. For our first story, we'll head down to Dexter, Missouri, where drivers from the 1221st Transportation Company are preparing to put some serious miles on their trucks.
The Missouri National Guard's 1221st Transportation Company is spending their 2-week annual training hauling ammunition, and this mission is going to take these soldiers far beyond the Midwest. They'll be driving from southeast Missouri to Sunny Point, North Carolina to pick up 105mm cartridges and taking them cross-country to an ammunition depot in Hawthorne, Nevada to be demilitarized.
It's 5,500 miles, so quite a substantial distance. And so we're taking the lead on that, and this unit will be the first one out the gate, hauling the ammo across the United States.
Last year, the 1221st took part in the Operation Patriot Bandoleer. This year, the Missouri National Guard will be taking the lead in this total force operation that is made up of active and National Guard components.
With this mission, it allows the National Guard to partner with Army Sustainment Command, provide a very much needed real-world mission and need. It really does round out the total force package.
The use of National Guard transportation units provides a real-world training opportunity for the 1221st while achieving enormous efficiencies in distribution for the Army.
For all of our soldiers, especially our newer soldiers, this is great training for them. I would say that all the stress is worth it in the end because I have well-trained soldiers at the end of the mission.
For us, overall, it really helps us to test the unit's ability. This is an excellent test of what are they capable of.
With 64 trucks driving such long distances and with such precious cargo, a lot of focus must be put on safety. The 1221st leadership is making sure the drivers have the required hazardous cargo and safety training and that the rigs are maintained to the highest quality standards.
When you say, hey, we're hauling several tons worth of cargo, this is a high-level mission, it's got high-level visibility, and it is helping support the greater mission of the National Guard. The troops look at that and they say, wow, we have to take this serious. We have to put that extra time in place to ensure that we get those details right. We have to check them twice because we don't want to interrupt civilian traffic. We don't want someone to end up in the hospital. So we have to take the safety and the maintenance serious because, hey, there could be serious consequences from that.
We have a great maintenance support element, the FMS down here, that they jump through hoops to make sure that our equipment is up to standard, and also our maintenance section that we have in the 1221st, by far some of the best mechanics that I've worked with in the National Guard.
Many of the young soldiers in the 1221st are looking forward to Operation Patriot Bandoleer as it is their first annual training with the unit. Private First Class Christopher Smith has a passion for driving. He immigrated to the U.S. from the Philippines at the age of 13 and is working his way through school to be a doctor. But on the Guard side, he wanted to be behind the wheel.
I love driving. It's a big deal for me. It's like to see the open roads, enjoy America. In the Philippines, you don't really have the luxury to own any vehicle at all. Coming here, you get the luxury of owning your own vehicle. and they get to drive, as much as you want, and I look forward to that.
Colonel Ed Gargis, commander of the 70th Troop Command, which the 1221st falls under, is a native of southeast Missouri. He wanted to stop by and show his support of the troops before they hit the road.
And so please let me continue to congratulate you on this selection for this mission. You are outstanding truck drivers, but more importantly, in my opinion, you're outstanding soldiers. The performance of the National Guard makes a lasting impression on our active duty brothers and sisters, and successful completion of this mission just solidifies that total force package and presents a higher level of confidence and competence between the sister forces.
Operation Patriot Bandoleer is also an opportunity for the more experienced soldiers in the unit to guide the younger, lower enlisted soldiers. Sergeant Samuel Sims has been in the Guard almost 7 years, and he sees the baton of leadership is being passed from his mentors to him.
For me, it inspires me to do better. These real-world missions, it's kind of like an opportunity for me at this point in my life to train the soldiers that are below me.
And Sergeant Sims, who drives a truck on the civilian side, cherishes the opportunities he has had to serve his state and country through the Missouri National Guard.
You're seeing people, and then you're seeing like the support that people give you. And it gives you that pride and feeling, that you're actually making a difference. You're actually doing something that matters to the community.
Coming up after the break, we'll find out how Cardinals Nation showed their support for an Air Guard unit that was deployed in Qatar.
It was the middle of winter when the Air National Guardsmen from the 157th Air Operations Group left for the Middle East. It's now baseball season, and the St. Louis Cardinals, Fox Sports Midwest, and the Missouri National Guard have teamed up to present This One's For You.
Hey, I want to shout out to all the guys over in Qatar. We miss you, and we can't wait till you're home.
I definitely have more of an understanding of what military moms go through, and I really appreciate everyone that's in service.
And I appreciate more the sacrifices that they make by leaving their little babies, because we're here so we get to see a lot of the firsts that they don't get to see.
This One's For You is Fox Sports Midwest's annual Cardinals telecast to local troops deployed overseas. It connects the Airmen with Cardinals Nation and their families watching from Busch Stadium and at home.
On behalf of all of us here back home in St. Louis and all the Cardinal fans and all of us at Fox Sports Midwest, we cannot say thank you enough for what you do for our country.
What are you going to do first when she gets home? Have you talked about it?
I'm just going to hug her a lot.
At the game, the support for the deployed airmen and their friends and family was tremendous. Tech Sergeant Elise Rich, Missouri Air National Guard, Busch Stadium, St. Louis.
Love you, Daddy. Miss you.
In our next story, we'll learn about an intense course that is the final test for soldiers who want to become combat engineers.
At the Regional Training Institute at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri National Guard instructors teach schools such as the 2-week-long Combat Engineer course. This intensive course is designed for soldiers who are reclassing or changing MOSs. At the end of the course, if they graduate, they will become combat engineers. In the sweltering Missouri summer heat, soldiers took part in the culminating event for the school. It was a MOUT training exercise, which stands for Military Operations in Urban Terrain.
What it amounts to is we're going into teaching these new soldiers in the reclass world of 12 Bravo, teaching them how to enter a building effectively, clear the building in a safe manner, but in a quick manner so they can achieve their objectives, get through the mission, and then move on.
Go down the hallway, go down the hallway.
They're in 3 different areas. One, they're going through room clearing operations, conducting outside operations, moving along a building, along windows, all that good stuff. And also, they're going through hallway operations. So they're learning how to move in a rolling T, serpentine. So they have to know the fundamental basics. I mean, obviously, in their units, they'll go further in depth, but right now the idea is to teach them the basic operations. So when they get to their units, they're not completely lost in the sauce.
The mount experience from today, that was incredible. I've never gotten to do anything like that.
Combat engineers are known for using explosives, but that is not all they do. The mount training gives them more skills that could be applied in combat.
So if I'm coming up and I'm using a silhouette charge to breach this door, my intent is to create a hole in that door so my people can go through. So now I've blown that door, I can get in that room and I can clear that room quickly without somebody knowing that I'm there.
The mount training was performed in a crawl, walk, run fashion, with the instructors adding a level of realism at each step. During the run phase, the soldiers were firing chalk rounds from their rifles.
Door left, open door left.
When you have the simulated rounds that aren't just blanks, that are actually, firing a projectile, it really gave you the feeling like you were in Afghanistan, in those buildings, clearing them, doing what you needed to do.
The soldiers in the course came from a diverse background of MOSs.
We've got 13 different MOSs just in this class, and that ranges from field artillery to admin.
Before I was a combat engineer, I was actually a 42 Alpha, which is a human resources specialist. I did that for about 3 years. I got farmed up to the unit in Rolla to help them out with some of their admin stuff. They took me out on demo ranges and I just fell in love with what they did, and I immediately wanted to be a part of it.
I went through aviation. I mean, it was great. I learned a lot of good things, but I decided to become more valuable, and so I went on ahead and moved over to the 1141st in Kansas City, Missouri.
Safety is stressed throughout the combat engineer course. During the run phase of the mount training, soldiers wear protective equipment and have to be aware of their surroundings.
One of the first things was be safe. Obviously, we're handling very dangerous equipment, so your safety is priority.
Okay, safety, right? All right, once again, time to work, time to play. Time to work right now.
Second is obviously have fun. Don't take it too seriously, otherwise you won't really get much out of it. You might even just brain dump it after the course.
All right now, baby.
I think thirdly was a lot of the techniques and skills and experience. They said don't make these mistakes or do this because it's a lot better because I did it the wrong way.
All right, is this room clear? Get out of the room. If it's clear, just get out of the room. We got other work. Really coming out, really coming out.
These instructors that I worked with are phenomenal. We have some of the best, most experienced people on the planet. Some of them do this on a day-to-day basis, and then some of them have been deployed 5 or 6 times that have done this in theater. So the reality is pulling that experience, you couldn't ask for a better corps to pull it from.
Get in. Short room, top.
They trained us and we ran through it time after time, that when it came down to do the actual exercise, we bursted in that door and it was just muscle memory. I did things that I didn't even think about it. I just went in there and did it, and I was amazed with myself.
Let's go. Short room.
I feel like I will be able to walk away from this with so much knowledge of this job and just be able to be so proficient at it.
Coming up after the break, we'll head to Rosecrans Air National Guard Base to see how they are operating more efficiently with their new air assault strip.
For over 375 years, our nation's citizen soldiers have sacrificed, struggled, and triumphed at home and abroad. Through resolve, resilience, and readiness, our Army National Guard continues its proud legacy.
As citizen soldiers,
We are your next door neighbors.
we're your colleagues in schools, offices,
And factories.
and every corner of America. The Army National Guard is nearby.
The Army National Guard.
The Missouri National Guard recently held a ribbon-cutting ceremony for a new air assault strip at Rosecrans Air National Guard Base in St. Joseph, Missouri. The strip, which is roughly 4,600 feet long and 75 feet wide, allows for C-130 pilots to train on taking off and landing on a smaller runway.
The only way you can get good at landing a 155,000-pound aircraft into a very small space, 3,000 foot, is you have to practice that. So this assault runway that we have built allows our pilots to practice that skill set.
When you go in a contingency environment, I believe the minimum width is 60 feet. So it can be a challenging runway for the pilots, and it's a good practice for them to get some good experience on a narrower runway.
The C-130 Hercules has been in service for the United States military since the 1950s. The 4-engine prop plane is used for a variety of missions, and most fall under the umbrella of troop and cargo delivery.
Land into a short field runway and deliver, we call it beans and bullets, to the troops on the ground. We deliver troops, we deliver vehicles, we deliver ammunition, food. That mission set is for us to train and be able to land in very short field runways, in some cases unimproved runways, which would look like a dirt runway.
One of the features of the new air assault strip is hard to appreciate with the naked eye.
It's fully night vision goggle compatible. We actually will put out lights that are reflective in the infrared spectrum, because that's what our night vision goggles look at. If you look out from underneath the NVGs, it's absolutely black. You do not see anything. So taking a young pilot and getting them to the point where they're comfortable operating on NVGs with the thought that I'm going to go do this in an Afghanistan or in an Iraq, in a dirt strip, with minimal lighting while taking fire, that's the leap that we're trying to make and get our folks ready for. And anything we can do here locally to simulate that or get that more realistic is extremely valuable for our training. Our partnerships with the city and the fact that we run the tower and we run the radar here with the military controllers allows us to actually turn all the lights off on the runway, and we can land at a city-owned airport with all the lights off. That partnership is probably unprecedented in the United States.
Rosecrans Air National Guard Base sits within the city-owned Rosecrans Regional Airport. Military, commercial, and private aircraft all use the airport. The Air Assault Strip project was a joint effort between the National Guard, the City of St. Joseph, and the Missouri Department of Transportation.
On this, the Guard Bureau paid for 65%, and a lot of that came from the fact that we were the major users for this particular runway.
This was a great partnership between the National Guard, the state of Missouri and MoDOT, Buchanan County, St. Joseph, the Levee District here, everybody pooling together to make sure that this runway became a reality, which is going to ensure the continued work of the ATAC school, our weapons instructor school, and the continued growth of the Air Guard.
The Missouri National Guard forecasts that the air assault strip will pay for itself in just a few years.
If you assume that this isn't here, our pilots have to go somewhere else to train. And because they have to go somewhere else to train, they have to pay for the fuel to get there and the fuel to get back. And fuel is a major expense here on base. So by saving that fuel, essentially you're paying for the runway.
The C-130 can hold roughly 9,000 gallons of jet fuel. Our cost locally here brings us up to about $16,000 to do that. The cost savings is that we don't have to transient fly to another location to do this training. It's right here. So I literally can take off, come back in and land on a fully accredited SALT strip, and it could take 10 minutes to do that.
Colonel Black says he'll soon get his turn to land a C-130 on the new air assault strip.
I'm going to try and do it next week. I'm a little bit mad that some of these young crack pilots have got a chance before me. In fact, we had a hard time keeping them off of the assault strip. As soon as it opened up, everybody was clamoring to be the first pilot to hit the assault strip. So they're all excited about it. I'm excited about it. It's the new thing on our base, so everybody wants to be a part of it.
Now we'll head to Leavenworth, Kansas to see how soldiers in the 35th Infantry Division are sharpening their skills and learning some new ones during a Warfighter exercise.
Missouri National Guard soldiers are supporting the 35th Infantry Division Warfighter exercise in Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. The 2-week exercise allows soldiers to practice their skills through a high-stress war simulation.
It's all the components coming together. We've got the Air Force, we've got the active component, reserve component. Everybody's working together to be one unit, one Army.
334 Missouri Guardsmen from the 35th Infantry Division, Headquarters, Combat Aviation, and Rear Operations are on the ground working at the exercise.
It's really a team-building exercise. There's a lot of collaboration going on. There's a lot of learning, a lot of using systems. It allows us to coordinate with people and do things that we don't normally get to do or would never get to do on a drill weekend.
But not everyone is working their usual jobs. Private First Class Kaylee Lang is using the opportunity to learn new skills, working at the Tactical Air Control Help Desk.
I definitely was nervous my first, walking on my first day, not knowing what to set, not knowing where to go. And now, day to day, you just go through it. You know where you need to be, you know what you need to do. And if not, it's always okay to ask, and you get the right guidance.
The 2016 Warfighter exercise is the largest yet, incorporating more than 15 units from 13 states.
Many units volunteered soldiers to come and assist us with augmentees on our shortages that we have that are in critical positions. Without Missouri soldiers, this wouldn't happen. It'd be impossible.
Reporting for the Missouri National Guard, I'm Private First Class John Need.
For our final story, we're going to check out what the 139th Forward Support Squadron has been up to during their annual training in England.
Airmen from the 139th Force Support Squadron are performing annual training this summer, and for some, that means maintaining a baseball field in England. The Airmen are at Royal Air Force Mildenhall, working alongside their active duty counterparts, receiving training they normally don't have access to at home. That includes raking and chalking baseball fields on base.
It's great for interacting with a lot of active services that have a lot of experience here. They're able to kind of walk you through and show you more specifics on what services do if we were to be deployed, or how to help maintain and keep morale and set up different activities for all kinds of people.
FSS is also responsible for scheduling and overseeing the games. But maintaining the recreation on base is just one part of the FSS mission.
Services does all sorts of things. So here we're getting training on the fitness center, food, and some people are going to lodging. So services does quite a few things, and we're getting that training done here today.
The Airmen also provided staffing to the base gym.
We got a few guys over at the other wellness center doing the 24-hour ops over there, running the front desk, checking people in. They're scanning everybody's ID cards so that they have access to get in the building, because you can only do one person per ID card. They just make sure that everybody's cards work to get in the 24-hour fitness any time of the day.
Back home, lodging is provided by contractors, but here, working in the Air Force Inns is part of their job.
You're going to learn so much. You may think, oh, I'm going to stay stateside, or I'm only going in my backyard. You're going to learn. You're going to get that skill set that you need to be a better airman, to be a better warrior, to be a better fighter for your command.
After 2 weeks in England, the Airmen will be ready to take what they've learned back to their home station at Rosecrans. Reporting from RAF Mildenhall, I'm Tech Sergeant Michael Crane.
It is now my honor to introduce the commander of the Missouri National Guard, the Adjutant General, Major General Steve Danner.
Thank you for watching this episode of MoGuard TV. To achieve a culture of readiness, our Missouri National Guard soldiers and airmen must train constantly. Some of our most effective training occurs during 2-week annual training exercises. These unit training events are critical for our readiness. In 2016, annual training exercises have occurred everywhere, from hometown armories and Missouri training sites to missions abroad in Poland and the United Kingdom. During these dedicated training periods, our soldiers and airmen gain proficiency and learn new skills. It's also a chance for units to build esprit de corps. Even as we enhance our readiness, we always ensure we are managing our resources responsibly. Often, this means using training missions to conduct critical, real-world missions. We saw this with our transportation mission during Operation Patriot Bandoleer. We are also looking at ways to improve and cut costs in the future. By making investments in infrastructure, like our new air assault strip at Rosecrans Air National Guard Base in St. Joseph, we will be saving substantial tax dollars in fuel costs and training expenses for our C-130 transport aircraft. Well, that's it for this episode of MoGuard TV. On behalf of Governor Jay Nixon and our nearly 12,000 soldiers and airmen, thank you for your support.